Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Paul, and we're joined by the other host, or the gaming nerd, the maestro himself, of everything to do with Twitch and gaming, shall we say. Nerdy Jesus himself. We've got the lovely, the
Shark boy.
vibracious, the hairiest one of us is Jake.
Hello.
Yes.
Unless you watch that wrestling episode, the clip that Paul put up, and it's like, who is that? Oh, it's Jake. I don't recognize you like that.
It's weird. I can't remember what I was doing. It was the pandemic, probably.
I'll try something new.
It was quite funny when Lee was doing his Twitch stream today. Someone actually commented and said, "Oh, Jake's had a shave." Oh, Jake's had a haircut, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I guess someone could think that, apart from it says Nerdy Lee in the corner.
Nerdy Lee. Yes, I know. Thank you for everyone who joined in and checked out Nerdy Lee's maiden voyage on the Nerdy Up North channel. He done really well, and we won some Pokemon cards, so that was always good.
Whoa.
Who
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, us.
Did you?
Yeah,
Everyone except you.
he had the Wheel of Donna. Yeah.
Everyone except me.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I got to open a pack yesterday. I got to open two packs yesterday, so I'm
You
alright.
But you sucked at it. You're not as good as me.
No, Mr.
I didn't know
Alakazam
that.
over here.
Natalie looks so disappointed.
We were, but then I bought another one and I high rolled one of the best cards in the set, so I was happy.
Good. So yes. So Sammy, do you want to ask your lovely questions for us?
I do. I've just realised like my shot today looks like either a passport photograph or a mugshot. I can't quite make out.
Oh, you definitely
Make it a
got
mugshot. Get angry, scare the people.
Grr. Oh, how yous doing and what yous been watching?
Not bad.
Wow, that actually kind of rolled a bit.
I met up some
Getting there.
weird twats off the internet yesterday, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met up IRL, as the kids say.
Yeah.
IRL. Ew.
In real life.
We did.
For real life.
You were in real life.
But yes,
That
we had
really
some good pizza though.
yeah, the pizza was
did.
nice. The pizza was good. Just want to give a big shout out to Bex as well, because when me and Bex were getting the bus home yesterday, some poor woman had an incident where everyone else was just panicking, and she went proper Superman mode and got everything sorted, got the ambulance there, and like say a proper little
Wow.
superhero there. So well done, Bex.
Oh, well done, Bex. She is a proper little mama bear, isn't she? When she thought that kid was like down and out on the street, she just instantly got up, and I'm like, she cares about children. I clearly don't.
we would just like finish him off.
Finish him.
Watch him down. That's funny enough. I did watch Mortal Kombat last night as well. So
Oh, did you like the newer
Oh,
one?
it's on Netflix, isn't it?
yeah, I've seen it before, but it's still it's a banger of a film. It's shit fantastic. I would say that's probably the best way I would describe it. But yes,
Yeah, I really everyone knows like Sub-Zero's like the standout because that guy's just like a legit like a threat in real life as in a martial artist. But his almost like stalkery like slasher type scenes are really really awesome.
It was a pandemic movie, wasn't it?
it was
I
made
think so.
before the pandemic, but
But like came out. in the
It came out. They didn't wait. They could have waited for it, like the cinemas to open, but they went no. I think Warner Brothers wanted to get HBO Max off and running, so they were releasing one big movie a month because Kong versus Godzilla came out.
That's right.
It was
that's
almost
right.
like was almost like a tester of like will people pay like £10 to £15 to rent this, and I did a couple of times.
See,
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
yeah, Jake's a good person. He pays for stuff. Me and Sammy don't. We are naughty people. But yes,
No.
Well, I'm sort of like the opposite of Paul in that the cinema experience sometimes annoys me. So like I was quite happy to forego that and be like, the comfort of my own home for like £5 less than the cinema. Like,
I
yeah,
I'm kind of, I never used to be like this. Like, obviously, pre-pandemic, I had like me Cinemax. Oh my God,
Oh,
that's
is
where
that,
that
is that
from.
your porn subscription?
Oh my gosh. From Cineworld, I had my card from Cineworld, and I would go to the cinema at least 3 times, maybe 4 times a month. I would
yeah,
constantly be there. But like as the pandemics happened and we were getting these,
Mhm.
cinema made movies straight away, I was like, oh, I kind of do like being in my house. And if I need to pay, if I had to pay for it to see it, if cinemas kind of went, I would be happy to pay for it to watch it at home.
See, I
I
missed the
kind of
cinema.
like having both. I like having both options, I suppose.
See, I missed the cinema that much.
True.
I built my own cinema in my house, so I
Yeah.
have you use me blind comes down as a projector screen, and I paid for a projector off Amazon, and so use me Amazon Fire Stick to because it plugs in via the HDMI cable, but then you use your Amazon Echo, is it like the little dot thing
Yeah.
as the speaker,
Yeah.
and it gives you like
Oh.
surround sound.
What?
Yeah, so you built
That's
your own little
awesome.
cinema. I haven't done it for a
That's
while
so
because there's
cool.
a massive plant now that Nick put there. So
Oh, Nick.
Yeah,
Um,
just have to watch some jungle movie.
yeah,
like,
so
ooh, it's all real.
I've got to move the plant out of the way to get it in the place. But yeah, but also this week I have watched 2 great TV shows. Like because they have been bringing it weekly. But again, this season of Only Murders in the Building
Oh,
Oh
is
yeah.
phenomenal. The cast
So
in
good.
this is so good. Like, it's basically investigating Paul Rudd's murder. Like, Paul Rudd's like a complete arsehole,
Yeah.
so each week, and it's probably the best whodunit I've ever seen because each week they throw out the big main thing that who you think it is,
Mhm.
and they then change it up. And I always get this one wrong. It's not Meryl Streep's in it, and Meryl Streep is phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love how like each season's about like a different character. Like this one's quite a bit about Martin Short's character, which is really interesting to see. The first season was always about like Selena Gomez and her friendship. The second season
Yeah.
was Steve Martin. So this one is basically the Martin Short season. And Steve Martin and Martin Short is absolutely magic together. This season has
Yeah.
been like nothing has been disappointing in this show.
And we lost off on halfway through season 2 because we did that whole we'll wait until it finishes and we just never got around to it. I do want to watch it though. We
Mhm.
love the first season. Martin Short and Steve Martin are just comedy gold. And to watch these men in their 70s
Mhm.
do the physical comedy that they still can do is unreal. Like that on the first season
Mhm.
with Steve Martin in the elevator
Yeah.
when he's off his face. He should not be doing that at his age, but he flung himself all over the place. Oh, I do want to watch it.
I
He
think
kind of
they,
got a little bit excited there to get back into it.
I think he's went on record as well and saying this is the last thing Steve Martin's going to do.
All right.
Oh,
So
that's
and I
sad.
think this is the last season. The third season's the last season. So
Oh,
but yeah, highly recommended. And I know Jake's going to argue with this one, and I am absolutely loving Ahsoka. This, like I
Okay.
said, the last episode of Ahsoka just felt like one of the more Star Wars aspects I've ever had. Like the whole battle scenes, like um Ahsoka, and I can't remember the names of them now because, like I say, I was never a big Rebels fan, but
Oh, yeah, like Sabine
mhm.
and Ezra.
Yes, Ezra,
Yeah.
like the guy who's playing
It,
Ezra is absolutely
yeah,
phenomenal.
that was cool as well. How he was doing that, like fighting without lightsaber, like stuff. Because like they did a bit of that like years ago on the cartoon that was made
hmm
by the Samurai Jack guy,
Mhm.
and they had this thing where like Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson's character, lost his lightsaber and had to like fight loads of droids with like force other abilities, and it was cool to see
Seen
them bring
that.
some of that in.
I've seen that one. The guy
That
who did it.
it's
So
yeah,
good.
it's all silent that
Mhm.
episode, I think, as well as
hmm
Samuel L. Jackson. But anyway, like yeah, it's okay. It's like it's not what I was expecting from like the Rebels follower, but
Mhm.
like it's definitely
Has
I'm interested to
Thorne
see where it goes.
has Thorne lived up to his billing? Because that's the whole thing. It's been going to it, and I thought,
Yeah.
in my eyes, I loved it. I thought he was as sinister and as like I'm actually terrified because the rumors are like spoilers that he's going to get back to the galaxy. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
he's definitely they did a good job getting the same actor in because his voice is really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a Mickelson.
Yes, I did. I only noticed that on like the end credits, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think like I don't know anything, but I think he's gonna to like cement himself. He's gonna have to kill somebody that we like.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have to cause the death of like one of our heroes.
I reckon so. I've got Thrawn's book, because
You're gonna go down the legends path, are you?
no, I'll not bore you with this. I only got it because I didn't finish all of Rebels. Rebels was something I just dipped in and out of.
Yeah.
But when I was at Star Wars Celebration, everyone was going nuts over him. I was like, okay, well, his book had just come out. I thought, oh, okay, I'll get it. It's really good. We are behind on Ahsoka. I know that you see Anakin, because obviously that was the end of the last episode we saw. That is literally where we're up to. But the internet's done really well and I'm never so bothered about people talking about it, where like if anything gets brought up that if I haven't seen, I'm never that normally asked about it. I'm just sick to shit of going online and people taking screenshots like from the actual thing and putting it on. I'm like, oh, how weird, man. Like, I get like talking about it, but I want to experience that for myself. Like, I want to see that. I hate it. Really
Yeah, like
annoying.
that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. It's retreading some Rebels ground because Ahsoka did that whole die and go to the weird Jedi time vortex thing in Rebels. Because like in Rebels, Darth Vader effectively kills Ahsoka, but Ezra yanks her out of the timeline and takes her out of the future, and it's like this whole thing.
There's some Infinity War shit going on there.
So like the only thing I'm feeling is like it feels a bit like a cameo parade, if that makes sense. And it's like, look, it's the guy, but just like jingle the keys, and then everyone.
I think I'm not getting that because with us not being a Rebels fan, this is all new to me, and these characters feel quite new, even though that's good. So that's why I'm kind of experiencing it for the first time. But yes.
Yeah, that's good. But also, like the Lord Balin thing, I was slightly disappointed because he sounded like he was gonna do something more interesting than just go to fight Ahsoka, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he sounded like he was gearing up for like I'm gonna uncover some weird like Force secret on this planet from the legends, and it's like, but I don't know.
It's sad. That's Sam Ray Stevens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so sad.
But these characters not getting wrote off. Apparently, they are going to recast them.
They're going to recast them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, you know what's sad is that he saw the starting point at Celebration this year, when they did the Ahsoka panel. So he kind of saw the buzz for it. Now he's never going to see the aftermath, and because I think like to look at him aesthetically, he fits so well into Star Wars.
Yeah,
like he really does. And it's sad. And then when I realized it was Dagonet from King Arthur, I was like, oh my god.
Not that stupid film again.
No, that's not a stupid film. It's the best film.
He's from Punisher Warzone. But no, it's been nice to have like because I think we've been missing that like older Jedi for a while. Because obviously like Luke died, so like we can't have any.
Beg your pardon?
So we can't have any more old Luke, and and I think we were missing that kind of like a wise part of the Jedi, because that's always been a part of it, like the wise old master and the apprentice type of vibe. But yeah,
cool.
And actually seeing someone go through like an apprenticeship would be cool. I'd like that. Anyways.
So yes. So what have you guys been watching other than me waffling on?
Ooh. I watched the Jill Dando documentary.
Ooh.
No fun.
It's not. It's really not. It's a 3-episode documentary, and I've literally only watched 2 episodes because I thought there's nothing here. The first episode runs through what actually happens, and it tells you about Jill and a background and where she came from and her journalism, and then what actually happened. And the second one kind of goes into the aftermath and the investigation, and they've fucked it up from start to finish.
Yeah.
They've got nothing new.
No.
They'll never find out who did it and why.
Yeah.
It was definitely a contract killing.
Wait there, because didn't they come out in the news today or yesterday they've arrested someone who killed Tupac. So never give up hope.
Well, everyone's known about Keefy G for years. He was telling fucking everyone for years that it was him. Like that was the point. It was like, oh, you've finally done it. Like they made out like it was such a big deal, and it's like Keefy's been on podcasts. He's wrote a book. He's detailed in the book what he did.
Called "I Shot Tupac."
It's all about. It's all.
Or was it the O.J. Simpson style thing? If I did kill Tupac, I would have done it this way.
So yeah, Keefy D's not like everyone knew. It's like the police only just found out. But they fucked the investigation up massively by it was a contract killing.
Mm-hmm.
The silencer gives it completely away that it's a contract killing, because if you have a silencer, you have to have gotten it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just carry silencers around.
So wait there. So the newspaper around the gun doesn't work as a silencer.
It does not. No. It just sounds exactly the same.
I've been watching too much EastEnders, I think. Oh, when I was a kid.
Or a tea towel around it.
Yes.
But they did they ruled out, because obviously the first thing when it comes to things like this, they go straight to the fiance or the husband or the boyfriend.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they ruled him out straight away. But the e-fit that they sent around to say this is the guy who could possibly have done it looks exactly like the fiance.
Yeah.
And that's where the fucked up. Even the detective went, we should never have sent that out. No, you fucking think? But there's nothing. And I guess when documentaries like this come out, it could be because they are looking for fresh eyes and fresh perspectives. Sure. And I can understand that part, because if you go and have a look on any podcast, like true crime podcast, Jill never gets brought up. That case never gets brought up because no one has a clear cut.
It's all circumstance and everyone's opinions and
and there's nothing concrete there. So I can understand if that is the case, but for viewing, there's just nothing. There's nothing new added to it.
So what you're saying is go back, watch the 1990s Crime Watch episode that came out.
They are actually. Yes, I've probably got more information on it than this documentary.
Right.
But I did also today see the new Saw movie.
Yes.
You saw it. You see Saw.
You saw Saw.
Yeah.
I saw the Saw. Saw X, Saw 10. It's so good. It is. I don't know if you want to take this from me, given that how much I've banged on about how much I love this franchise at the minute. But it's such a perfect installment to run alongside with how how Saw's been going over the last couple of years. It's fully John Kramer from start to finish. So it's not a case of he dips in and out, or he was never really there. He's in it from start to finish. So it's lovely having Tobin Bell on screen for such a long time. The kills are so thought out. It's so good, but the story's so good as well. And it in the timeline, it fits in between 1 and 2.
So really?
So it fits in between 1 and 2.
Okay.
But yeah,
they had to do something like that to bring John Kramer back, because spoilers, he's dead.
He's dead. Yeah. And he makes it very clear throughout this movie he's gonna die. But Tobin Bell is just on his fucking game on this movie. It is unbelievable to sit and watch him, especially when you only get like little snippets of John throughout. Like the Saw movies are not really like fully about him. This one is. And it was well worth it. And also, please stick to the end, because there is an end credit scene and it is well worth it.
Cool. What about you, Jake? Anything fun?
Just been watching for the first time The Good Place. I don't know if you guys have seen that. All right,
very good. It's one of them I've slipped in and out of. I hear the last season of it is one of the best last seasons. I always try and get there, but it's one of them ones.
That's what I'd heard about the finale being like a really good like cap for that entire thing. But I've had the first big twist, and I've like got season 2, so like I've had the twist.
Which twist? That's what put me off watching it.
It's not
actually The Good Place.
Good Place. and Kristen Bell figures it out, and it's like
yeah.
But
so I'm gonna still plug along with that, because it's nice to just have like digestible 20 minutes like thing to chuck on. That's always got like a silly cliffhanger at the end, you know.
Very cool.
But no, that's it pretty much.
All right.
I just want to point out in the chat, yes, Beth, I am laughing at Lee because all I want to do is go.
Jigsaw. You've done that. You've had your episode on him, you know.
I know, it's because Lee said John Kramer whispers, and I'm like trying not to say it.
Anyone who's
It's me,
interested, go
Jigsaw.
back. You should have already watched it, by the way.
Should have
It was a very good episode.
But if not, go back and watch it.
I'll watch it
Wait
again.
until you've watched this.
Watch it again.
Yeah, watch it again.
Yeah.
How much new metal is in this new Saw, by the way?
None.
What?
Yeah,
That used to be their thing.
it was.
Well,
It's not now.
Can we cancel it?
I don't think you can.
All right.
X go give it to you.
He doesn't have that.
And on that
No,
note,
they missed a trick.
yes.
They missed a trick. Right, I'll do the disclaimer and we'll start talking about some sharks. So, I was going to sing the Baby Shark song and then I had to stop myself.
What?
Baby shark. Anyways, everything discussed in tonight's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group, the Discord page, or the comment section, and we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
And if anyone is watching, please get that clip of Sammy doing Baby Shark. We need that as a clip.
I'll sing it again later on. Don't worry, I've got no
need to
shame.
capture that demographic of strange YouTube children.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
I've got no shame.
We all know. We've all seen what she's been up to in the past. And
Watch me. I'm an innocent.
So yes.
Anyways.
So we are kicking off our spooky season of the podcast. Yes, and a lot of people did look at me a bit weird and say Shark Week to kick off the spooky season, and I think as a whole it is the perfect way to start the spooky season because sharks are the scariest animals ever. Like literally, if you watch Jaws, I will fight anyone who says that Jaws is the scariest horror movie that has ever been made. And if you watch it too young, it will scare you from water. So I thought it was the perfect starting point. And we've never really touched on, like, we've done Monster of the Week or anything like that, but we've not really went there with, like, say, these type of creatures too much in the past. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to take a deep dive into them as well.
Oh, a die. And you're right, they live among us as well. Like, this isn't a supernatural creature. This is something you could run up against if you fall off the boat.
The puns going through the chat at the moment are fucking ridiculous.
Don't
Lee,
look at
you
them.
need to stop.
We'll take your Twitch privileges off you.
Yeah, we'll change the password.
Please quickly logging in. Please no, I'm sorry. But yes. So the first one I wanted to talk about, because like I said, there is quite a lot. Like if you type into Google, there is a wide variety of shark movies, from the extreme to almost realistic type of scenarios, which again, why I love the matter, and I love a silly big monster movie as well. I know Jake's a fan of like the Megalodon or the big monsters, like say if you got Jaws versus Megalodon, that would be not Jaws, I mean Godzilla versus Megalodon, that would be interesting to watch for you.
The Meg.
Well, I've got a clip, like I'll show you a trailer. We can, like say, don't worry, like we can talk over it as we think. It's not going to detract from what we're saying. I did actually watch what I would probably say is probably it's the wrong one, sorry. I'll try the different one there.
Is it the worst best film you've ever seen?
It's not even the worst best, it's just the worst film I've ever seen. It's basically called Shark Side of the Moon.
Amazing title though. Come
so
on,
when I saw the title and the poster, I thought the premise of this was going to be a shark werewolf. See, shark on the moon. See the sharks on the moon.
Oh no!
No, basically the start of the film is Russians are on the dark side of the moon, so you can't see them, and they're doing experiments where they're trying to create these ultimate beasts to fight the Americans. So they create Sharkmen.
Yeah.
What?
That's the
Yes.
ultimate beast.
They create Sharkmen. So the Sharkmen overthrow. There's the Sharkmen. Overthrow basically the Russians. So there's one Russian left, and then there's a half human, half shark.
Look like King Shark.
Yeah. So there's half human, half shark. Where she's basically, it looks like a human, but then she says, "How are you breathing on the moon?" Because she's not wearing any gear, and she pulls back her top, and it's got gills. It's like, how the fuck does gills make you breathe on the moon? But yes, logic out the window. But yes, the CGI was horrendous, and basically the premise is the sharks are trying to steal the American ship to go to Earth to basically use all the shark eggs that they've got in storage to take over the world.
What?
Yeah, that's the premise of this movie. So these mad Americans, because they're not allowed to use anything electronic and not allowed to bleed, because with there being no atmosphere, the sharks can pick up any scent of blood anywhere on the moon, and that any electronic current they can read and feed into. So,
Yes.
and this Russian scientist has created this suit where they can wear it and it hides all the electric thing, and all they need is a little straw put over their nose, and then they can breathe on the moon.
Yeah, it's like the old Futurama trick.
Yes. So at the end of the movie as well, like say they get back to Earth, they kill all the sharks. Yay, yay America!
Yay, America!
Two of the people survive, and the half woman, half shark survive. And she's like, "Yeah, on Earth, we're going to show you the world." And like this woman is this thin, like stick thin, and she starts going, "Oh, my tummy," and they're going, "Have you ever had sex with a shark?" And she's like, "No." It's like, okay, and so she gives birth to shark babies.
No.
And
No,
that's
she doesn't.
Yep, that's the thing. A little shark baby jumps out, and then it jumps in the sea, and she's on the lifeline. She goes, "I need to look after my baby," and jumps in the sea, and that's the end. So yes,
Baby shark. Do-do-do-do.
No.
so yes,
Dark Origins.
I want everyone to go and watch this movie now. Just
I'm
how
really wants to
ridiculous!
watch it.
Oh,
To be honest, like you are right that from the poster and the title, my mind went straight to like, okay, it's like a werewolf movie,
Hybrid, like
Yeah.
shark hybrid werewolf.
and the moon makes you turn to a shark. But yeah, that
so
sounds
yes,
Wowza.
incredible. It sounds like the sort of the side plot that would be in like a Godzilla movie, but then you would also get like the monster fights, but you would have like the weird praying mantis aliens doing their thing on the side. But yeah,
So-
it's like that could be the origins to Street Sharks as well.
Someone said
King
that.
Shark.
Dave Hope said that. Street Sharks in space.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
Cookie and
much
Chris
that-
love Street Sharks.
but the worst thing about it, this was made in 2022.
It was
Wow.
not.
Yes, it's a new movie.
Yep. To be original, apparently, whatever that means.
But yeah.
Who wrote this movie? And what was the
Did it.
score on Rotten Tomatoes? Just
I
out
don't
of-
know. I haven't got that far into it. I'll see if I can get some information for you. All I got was like it was made in 2020. Rotten Tomatoes score. What?
What?
71%.
It was not.
71%
This is why we
audience
don't-
score.
This is why you don't trust.
This is why we don't
reviews.
trust Rotten
Audience
Tomatoes.
reviews.
Wow.
People must have loved it.
I
Did you not think
could,
Sharknado was to blame for that? Because like up until then, when
Yeah.
shark movies like kind of taken slightly seriously, and then after that it was like, oh, we can actually do something really funny with this.
I don't know how taken seriously when you watch some of the Jaws movies. Shall we say, but and the premises behind them. But yeah, if we're going to talk about Sharknado, we're going to have to take it to the Sharknado expert. That is Jake, because he has taken a deep dive into them.
Yeah,
lately, bless him.
I did not watch any Sharknados, but I watched recap videos about the Sharknado movie. So is the trailer coming on?
Yeah, I'll
Which
put the
one?
trailer while you
One?
talk. I don't know which one. It's the one with Tara Reid in, I think.
The
No, the
she's
first
in the
one.
wall.
Is she?
Is she?
Yeah, It just turns into a cyborg eventually.
Oh my
What?
word!
I have seen the beginning of this and then ended up turning. Isn't that like him from Beverly Hills 90210?
I have no idea. Like,
That's him, yeah, him. He's
Oh,
in Beverly Hills
the
90210.
reboot one or something.
No, the original.
Oh, he was
Yep.
actually in the original.
It's
Well,
Ivan something.
Yeah, so like it starts off like semi-serious, if you could say that, where it's like, oh, a world like a tornado has picked up loads
he's trying
of
to shoot
sharks.
sharks.
Yeah.
Do you think this is where the Americans got the idea from when the hurricanes came and they got their guns out and started shooting at them? We turned on Sharknado!
Well, Ash out the Evil Dead there.
Yeah, he ends up stealing the chainsaw gimmick from Evil Dead. Doesn't get one grafted to his arm, but that becomes his like signature weapon. Even like in the third one, he gets gifted a golden chainsaw from the president for being like the savior of like the USA. Like, it's absolutely nuts. But yeah, it eventually goes sci-fi. It eventually goes,
Of course it does.
it goes like fantasy, where it's like, oh, there's a shark god that's causing the hurricanes, and they find like ruins under Stonehenge. And Tara Reid's
With
a
that,
scientist.
they went all Halloween 3 on us.
Sorry, Tara Reid's a scientist.
She has played multiple scientists in B movies, and
Oh.
she's in Alone in the Dark as well as a scientist.
Oh, I remember that. Oh.
And she always sounds like, I hate to say this, but she sounds like she's on drugs. Like,
Yeah.
Like
she probably is. There is a period of time with Tara's career where she wasn't in a good place.
Like she sounds like she's like slurring out words half the time. It's really like painful to like watch, and I don't know what's happening there.
No.
I hope you're well, Tara.
Yes, if you're watching this, Tara, well done.
Yeah. But,
Well done.
But like Sharknado, it becomes really silly from the second one on, and they just start getting like celebrity cameos from like a lot of American people, but also like Jared from Subways and a lot of them, like in like 2 of them at least.
He's not.
Yes.
He
So, like,
isn't.
This is what happens when you get too many cameos. Like you can't bank on
The
everyone.
Subway guy.
Yeah, the
one who's in prison right now.
The bad Subway guy.
The bad guy. Oh my god! Wow.
Is there a good Subway guy?
They
It's
haven't
not him.
tried again, I don't think. But it's one of those ones. Like I think you were right, Sammy, where you were saying like, did Sharknado like unlock something like for the sci-fi original movie? And like I think it did. I think it came along when CGI must have been like just at that right expense level where like a low level crew could be like, yeah, we can do CGI sharks. Like on a budget. Like
why not?
absolutely.
Yeah, well,
And
they
it
did
kind of like unlocked a second coming of like B movies where like you get all these stuff. And for some reason, I guess because that was the first one, sharks became very popular for like the B movie scene. Which, like you were saying beforehand, they were taken quite seriously. Because like Jaws is like up there as like
top tier.
Like, yeah, and it's like referencing everything. Like nobody, if you haven't seen Jaws, you've seen enough parodies to piece Jaws together. You know, like it's just one of those things that's everywhere.
I actually found out the other day that there is what are them called? The Mandela effect.
Yeah.
There is a Mandela effect. I actually learned what that meant. I think you'll find. And there was Jaws is like an example of a Mandela effect with the whole. I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's not what he says. He says you're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Not I. And everyone, if you ask them to quote it, will always say, "I think we're going to need a bigger boat."
Yeah.
And that was the example that was given to us. To explain what a Mandela effect actually was.
I've heard another one as well. I believe it's like the end of Jaws 4 that impale the shark with the boat head. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like that's how they kill it. They like drive the boat into it.
Like, yeah, you've got Michael Caine on the front of the boat going Gah!
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently in the original cut, it's just like a grizzly, like, you know, stabs the shark and the whole thing goes down and it like lingers on it. Apparently at some point it got changed to the shark explodes when they do that.
All right.
And that's the DVD version apparently. And people, it's kind of like lost media where the more grisly slow version is what they showed on the TV version apparently, but the explosion got put on all the DVDs, I think.
All right.
So that's another weird one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's funny that I don't think I've ever seen the explosion version. I think I've only seen the
Probably
TV
not.
version because I wasn't going to the pictures to see it. But
You learned your lesson after.
I know. But like I say, if we are talking about Jaws: The Revenge, who wants to do Michael Caine's quote? Because everyone knows about it and the things he says about the movie. Sam's looking
Oh
confused
God.
now.
I can't do it verbatim.
Is this where? Is this where he? I can't do. Is this where he says that it paid for his beach house or something?
It was basically the quote was basically, "Oh, what did you think of Jaws: The Revenge?" He says, "I've never watched the movie, but I do like the house it bought me mother."
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I was trying to think. I was like, I've actually not seen it. So if he's going to ask us to quote the movie, we could be here a while, me trying to figure out what it is he said.
There is no
I know.
quotes during the movie. The whole premise of the movie is absolutely ludicrous, almost as ludicrous as Sharknado, where the shark has a family is from a family of the original shark that was killed in the original Jaws, and it's taken
But Bruce.
Yep, it was taking a vendetta against the family, so it goes from coast to coast, killing every member of the family that was part of the Brody family, and
Like follows the lady and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're giving sharks a lot of crediting in
Yes.
mind.
psychic connectivity and stuff like that. Since it
Wow.
knows.
I think it's a case of one of those where, like, they took every piece of the first movie and tried to like spin it off, because in the first one they do say like, oh, you know, this guy's like a rogue, he's gonna eat everything here and then he's gonna move on to a different place. So I guess they were like taking that and being like, and you know, he's gonna remember and he's gonna keep on searching until he finds like the right spot.
Yeah.
Bless. But yeah, I've got one final clip. I'm not going to be a clip heavy as normal, but I thought this one, just because it is one of the most ridiculous shark attacks in the Jaws franchise, and it is from the classic Jaws 3, and it's just absolutely hilarious when you watch this and see what's going on.
Okay.
How did he get in SeaWorld?
This is basically underwater aquarium. That's the shark, because it was in 3D. Remember, it's in 3D.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So this is when they were, like, basically, I think Friday the 13th 3D came out around the same time. So all the people's going, no, shit, there's a shark. There, it's attack. Oh, it's smashing up the place just by nothing. It's headbutting it again. Everyone's going to die. That was it.
It's very weakly bashing into, like, the underwater dome.
But yes, I always just find that absolutely hilarious, like how they went about it.
In that one as well, they blow up the shark in 3D, so you see like the pieces of the shark flying into the screen, don't you? Like at the end, it's like Mortal Kombat fatality or something.
Like, finish him, but yeah, like Jaws 3 as well. It's one of the more ridiculous ones. It's ones where a swimmer is able to not die by swimming into Jaws's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're in the tunnel. Jaws is attacking them, and he's got his mouth open of the shark, and he swims directly through the mouth. And before he chomps down, he swims quickly, so he stays hiding in Jaws's mouth, because they're trying to use the premise that Jaws is that big, and it's like chomping down, and like you can see him just like crouching in the mouth, not being killed.
Can you not tickle his tonsils and spit it out?
Possibly could just like spewed up or something like that.
Like I can't say that I've seen every like Jaws sequel, but does the shark like get bigger? Do they kind of like do that escalation thing where it's like we need bigger monsters now because it's like the sequel? The
Jaws, in essence, doesn't really change size wise, because the Jaws in the original is a massive shark.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, it's a 25-footer or something. Isn't he? Like,
but it's just like the premise of them is crazy. I think Jaws 3 it just goes off and accidentally finds this plant in it, this aquarium type place, and gets goes in one of the tunnels where it's not shut properly and stuff like that. Where it's just absolutely ridiculous. But coming back to the classic, because I know we've got like a lot of different shark movies to talk about, but if we're talking about the Jaws movies, the one that started it all, the one that scared us the most, scared me the most as a child, and still scares me now. I watched it again yesterday, and for a film, it holds up so well, but simply because it's so clever, and it is Spielberg at his best. Like the storytelling and the characters driven behind it. I think the shark is only in it for 12 minutes in whole, and it's a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
mostly at the end, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
It's always what you don't see, or again, because I know I keep harping about like horror films. To me, is scary what you don't see and you're not knowing, and like they use the music perfectly, and it does the best opening. Like that kill at the beginning is fear intoxicating. Like if you saw that, and like us living at the coast, you did not want to go on the beach after seeing that and seeing how ferocious and like nasty it was as well. And you don't actually see anything.
No, but that the woman that hired to do that, like her drowning acting is absolutely like horrible. Like it's horrible to listen
It's horrific.
to.
Yeah, it's horrific to watch. I didn't see Jaws until I was 16. I rode the ride in Universal Studios probably more times than I saw it. Like I never watched it. My mum always used to laugh at us that I'd never seen Jaws. Michaela has still, to this day, never seen Jaws, but has rode that ride, and I absolutely adore that ride. The detail in it.
Can we talk about this ride, because I absolutely hate that ride, because I like Paul was friggin' terrified of Jaws as a kid.
Really?
And my granddad takes me on the ride, and like I was sat on the side of the boat where Jaws comes up.
When it comes up at the end.
Right on the end, and I basically just put my head between my legs. It was just like,
oh no, Jake. Oh, I love it. I love the detail in just like the surrounding areas, like outside the ride where they've got the shark hanging up, and how it all looks.
That either.
See, the only thing I was. The only thing, I mean, it's Universal Studios, but I don't think they had the budget for a big shark to come to life. I was never scared of big fish. Jellyfish terrified me. Now, if they had a big giant jellyfish jump out of the water, I would shit my pants. But I love the detail in it and the smell at the end. That smell, it was just amazing when the shot Jaws.
Okay. I did like that part when he killed it.
Oh, were you so happy?
Yeah.
It's like proper nightmare fuel, just sticking you on the end.
I was only 7 years old as well.
My god, Jake.
So it's not like he's like 16, 17 going, yeah, I'm a big cool guy. Then it's like sitting there crying, oh, it's a shark! It's coming to get us!
It feels so real though when you're like freaking out and you only catch little glimpses of it. Like,
yeah, it does. Well, that holiday, so I spent my 16th birthday in Florida, and when we came home, and I'm not even joking, because the minute we got home, it was in between sleep. So it was like it was too early to go to bed, but you were still like exhausted from the flight. And my mum was like, "I'll watch Jaws," and I was like, "Okay, let's do this." And I wasn't scared by it. I was 16 by this point, but I loved it to the point where I think I watched it continuously after that for about at least a good month. This is what I do. If I love something, I'll watch it all the time.
It's one of those movies where, and again, I think this term gets thrown around too often, but with this one, it is timeless for how it's made, and especially for the time. There's nothing. I know it sounds strange, like especially from a film of the 70s. There's nothing offensive in it. There's nothing. It's something quite pure and animalistic. One of my, like, to this date, if we did like a top 5 favorite kills or deaths and like kills like by monsters, the one of the ones in Jaws would hit that, and it probably didn't hit us as hard as a kid. It's when I watch it now as an adult, you realize the subtlety and how amazing it's the one where the shark goes into the pond, like where the kids are, and the kids are playing, and you've got that guy that's sitting on the boat asking the kids if they're okay.
Being a bit creepy.
Yeah, it was a different time, different place.
He was genuinely concerned.
Citizen in Amityville. But you see the shark knock the boat over, and normally it would be quite intense music, screaming, silence, and it's just how quick and smooth he's like there. The shark engulfs him, takes them under the water, and it's the kids' reaction as well, because they're not screaming, they're just in shock and fear.
Mhm.
Yeah, because the kids fall out the boat at the same time, and you're like, okay, who's the shark got? Because there's like
Yeah.
3 of them in the water now,
Mhm.
and then all you see is the leg, don't you? And then
Mm.
then they're dragging the kid out by his arms, and you're like, oh no, has he bit the kid's
Ooh.
leg off?
Yeah.
It's like such a good, like, you don't like, it's like you're like caught up in like the chaos at the same
Yeah.
time as everyone else.
And watching,
You're just no different than someone sitting on the beach at that point.
yeah, and when you're watching as a kid, you don't realize like how well it's put together. And like now, watching the amount of movies that we've watched, and like horror movies especially, they could have overblown that or made it like out to be this big and like messy, horrible thing, which would have worked, but it worked so much better, and it's so much scarier now when you think about it. Like, you could just be bobbing about in the water if you put yourself in that position, and like that, you're gone.
I
Yeah.
would never swim in the sea.
No.
Ever.
It's like the artistry of it as well. How
Yeah.
that's actually filmed on a beach. So they had to like dump all the fake blood in the water and film things like washing up on the shore. And like that part where like Jaws starts pulling the boat in either end, and like they're just getting sprayed by waves. And I was just thinking like who would do this these days? Just like pelting like the actors with like waves while they're trying to film a scene. It's like it's amazing to watch just from like a pure like film artistry point of view. And like Paul was saying, that beginning scene, like the lighting is horrible when she goes out on the water. I don't know what kind of colors or filters they had, but it's horrible to look at. It looks like really sinister. And then she just kind of like drops in with her leg, and you're like,
oh yeah, it's like the moonlight or something like that. There's not a lot of light there. It's just the moon.
no, it's almost like a silhouette, but it's not just like a reverse. Like it's
It's
awesome,
crazy.
like.
It's crazy to think as well that there's on that final scene on the boat, because that is such an iconic moment in cinema. That scene, that final bit at the end. You cannot imagine yourself that there's a crew somewhere.
Yeah.
Like there's an actual crew somewhere around, because it's so tight knit and it's so isolated. They look to be the only thing there with this shark, but in actual fact, there's a whole fucking crew somewhere around them. Like, it just, are you in the sky? Like, where are you? Where are you, Spielberg?
And do you know what it does that I, like Paul was saying, didn't appreciate as a kid, but like the subtle sense of time running out. Like, it's kind of like Back to the Future, where they put like a time limit on it, and everything like has to like go to this one point, and you obviously sit on the edge of your seat being like, are they gonna make it? Even though you know like they're gonna make it. And it's that part where like the boat's almost totally sank, and like Brody's like on the mast, like sinking down. So you're like, you know for a fact like he's got a time limit here. But like he can only make the shot as long as he's above water, and like if the boat is sinking and the shark's coming, and it's
so intense. And Richard Dreyfuss in this movie is unreal. I love Richard Dreyfuss to start with, but this one was like, it's just perfection. I don't know if I watched it or read it. I probably watched it on something, like movie history things, and how him and the guy who played Quint really didn't get on.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell.
Robert Shaw was a polarizing personality, shall we say?
Yeah, well, he was a fully blown alcoholic.
Yeah,
and he let that drift into his work, where Richard Dreyfuss was a perfectionist. He was an actor, and he was a perfectionist, and he didn't appreciate him being, fucked up. But there was one scene, and it's the scene where he's telling his story. It's like a really long bit of dialogue for him, and he just blew it out of the water, and that's when Richard Dreyfuss changed his opinion on it and went, fuck yeah.
Oh, when he's
why do I know this?
Army.
Yeah, being about it was in the Pacific Ocean that went down, and they said it wasn't the torpedo that killed all the men, it was the sharks, and each day they were like drifting off and being killed. But I think what amped it up for me, like, is Robert Shaw's performances as Quint, is he's so measured and controlled, like all the way through. And when he started getting manic because he knows he hasn't got control of the situation, and like
Yeah.
he destroys like the radio because his pride's hurt that he doesn't want help. He wants to basically deal with his himself, but that like speeds up because it feels like a slow movie. There's a lot of going on, but the pace of the movie's like I say, it's 2 hours 20 minutes. I think the runtime, which
I think like
Hmm?
yeah, but I think like for me the pace it only dropped when they got on the boat, which is
Yeah,
kind of
because
what
it
you would
slows down a bit.
yeah, and you'd think like oh when they're in like the shark waters, like that would probably be where a modern movie would like ramp up and then never stop the ramp. But like I don't mind that there's a bit of a break because
Yeah.
like the first sort of hour or so was like really tight and like I didn't notice the time flying by when it was
No.
all
Me neither.
the island scenes and
Isn't
stuff.
isn't that like the same length of time as in the new Indiana Jones we recently saw?
Potentially, yeah, not too far
Yeah.
away.
And my arse was killing me during that. So
Yeah. For a movie of its time, it was like long. I would say it is a
Yeah.
long one, but as Jake said, the pacing in it is perfect, and like the
I think
storytelling,
they earned
it kind of
it, like yeah, like they earned the time because they weren't wasting any seconds.
No.
Really.
no, they weren't.
because
And how awful was that mayor?
yeah,
Wasn't he awful?
that's the thing.
Couldn't even,
Yeah,
couldn't,
he's
couldn't even close the beach.
No, but
oh,
that's the
it's so like
capitalism
that scene.
wrong.
That scene with where the widow comes up to him. Oh, sorry, like not the widow, like his child has been eaten. That scene is just so like juicy, and it's like you can tell the actors were like they're doing a lot with the face, which I think is like missing from like modern movies, and it's like
Totally agree.
just the way people are like their eyes are darting around and like
Don't know where to
yeah,
look and
that's
saying feeling embarrassed, like saying, and then
It's
like
so
afterwards saying
juicy.
you done the right thing, and he's like he knows he didn't do the right thing. It's
Yeah.
there's so much to it as well, and there's so many nuances and things
like
you can take from it.
That man never says sorry officially. Like
No, he never does. He never,
the
not to
last-
her.
the last scene he's in is just where he gets him to sign over 10 grand to friggin' Flint.
Yeah, there you go. The kid her kid, the woman whose kid who got in the water and killed and everything, as an adult owns a restaurant dedicated to Jaws. And it's got some funny name in relation to like the kid who got killed in Jaws or something along those lines. And she went to his opening without telling him. And apparently a very, very magical moment. Had no idea she was going to be there, and she just rocked up in like, was it like a yellow slicker she had on, like a?
She had like she was the one with the big like floppy hat as well.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, it's when she's on that beach and she's looking for him.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. See, this movie just like there's so many funny bits. The scene with the scars still cracks me up to today. I look at mine and like, could I win this one? Could I?
Maybe that's a podcast we need to do to get our scars out.
Sit there and just be like, and this one.
This is where I kicked a wardrobe once. It really hurt.
I've got some great ones. But yeah, there's some really funny scenes in it, but there's some really heart-wrenching ones. It's got a horror element. It's everything that a movie like should be.
And people dare saying this is not a horror movie. And
a few years ago, I probably would have said it's not. However, I wouldn't know where to fit it, but into a category because I didn't have people like yourselves sitting and talk, like to hash it out.
Yeah.
But it's true though. I didn't have people to sit and like hash it out and go, oh, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, that does fall in the horror category because of X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I'd definitely say it fits in the horror genre.
Very much so. So I know, like say we're going to the classic, like one of the best, like probably ever will be made. Like I don't think, like I wouldn't be sad if they made more Jaws movies, just because there's a lot of different things and things. But Jaws as a whole, there's nothing you could take out. There's nothing you can add to it to make it a better or like any type of film. Modern wise, I know we had an influx of movies quite a long ago. There was a lot of like 47 Meters Down, which is quite an interesting take. But a recent one I watched, 2016, The Shallows. I don't know if you guys have seen this one.
No, not that one.
It stars Blake Lively.
Oh, okay. I know which one it is. Is this? Oh, hang on. Is she on a raft?
No, she's basically she gets taken. She goes on this adventure because for reasons. Basically,
For
Horror
reasons.
horror movie reasons.
I think
All them reasons.
if my memory serves me right, I think it's a mum passes away, so she goes on a discovery to find herself type thing. So she goes to this exotic place where the local person says, "I'll take you to this secret beach, but I can't tell you what the beach is called. I don't want you to take pictures of it. It's basically like our little oasis." So she goes there, and there's two other surfer guys that's like there, and they like get talking, and like everything's fine, like nothing's going wrong. So she goes out, they go out, and she gets knocked off the board by a shark, and basically gets bitten, and the shark attacks a seagull, and the seagull and they're on this little rock.
That's okay.
So they're on the rock, and her and this little seagull who's got like a damaged wing are just waiting for the tide to come in. And as the waters keep going up, like I say, she's getting cuts. There's crabs start nibbling her. So every time she tries to look to see about getting back to the shore, there's basically these sharks like swimming around watching. And then it goes through 24 hours. She sleeps, and then the two surfer dudes come back, and she waves them, "Yeah, you come and save us." And they don't realise and think she's been fun, so they go towards her, and they get nommed. Quite a graphic and interesting way. And then towards the end, she's like doing little tasks to try and get her to there, but it's quite subtle. But Blake Lively is absolutely one of her best performances. I know I don't really know it too much. I know, like say, she has a bit banter with Ryan Reynolds on Twitter so often. That's quite funny. But this is the first time I've watched anything with her where I took notice, and it's one of the scariest. And well, not scary because you don't like sit there like fear. It's intense. I think these are what the movies where you're sitting there like fingertips, like saying, "Oh, I hope she makes it. Is she going to make it?" But with the settings and everything, because normally with these you can telegraph and say, "Oh, they're going to make it out," but generally you don't know with this one because it's one of those close ones. But the Shallows is quite a good one.
I
Those
remember
ones are
the
quite
trailer.
interesting, where it's like one actor just like stuck, because that is a bit of a horror genre, isn't it? Like
It's classed as survival horror. I've just been having a look at it. I remember seeing the trailer for this and being really interested, but it honestly either it must have passed us by, but I remember thinking to myself that would be absolutely terrifying. The idea of just being stuck there would be terrifying. Yeah, it's called horror survival.
Okay, what would everyone do then? Would you swim for it, or would you just wait to die?
Oh, Jake, I would have died. At some point, I would have died. My body just would have went, "You can't handle this. I'm just going to take you out now, and you'll thank me later."
I don't want to be food. So
I don't want to be num.
I don't want to be numbed.
You don't want to give him the satisfaction, so you would just be like, "I'm gonna like die on this rock."
Yeah, possibly.
Become inedible.
Just sit
I
there
think
and
I would like.
cry myself to death.
I think I would swim for it because I'd rather just get it over with.
I know, but you're braver than us. So where the pussies in the?
It wouldn't go well.
Zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow. I'm dead within half an hour. Just.
But
I don't think I want to live in the apocalypse, so I'd probably just go out in an explosion of glory.
Because I remember, like I say, when that came out, and like the one I mentioned before, I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Netflix now. 47 Meters Down. There is a sequel. The sequel's terrible, but the 47 Meters Down is actually really good, and it would be like a survival horror type thing. The premise is again two young girls in a exotic land and meet some boys and go, "Yay, boys," and try and show off, and they're going to go diving to see the sharks. So they go in the cage, and it's in this rickety old boat. Like the boat's like shit. So they're going in this cage, and the contraption, like the pole that keeps the cage up, snaps, and the cage falls to the bottom of the sea. So
that's horrible.
So you've got
honestly, that's making us feel really funny.
So you've got
I don't like that.
So you've got two problems with this scenario. So one, you're at the bottom of the sea. Like fair enough, you've got an oxygen tank, but you have to pace your yourself up because you will get the bends. if you try and
Yeah.
go up too quickly. And if you go up too slowly, you get numbed by the shark.
Num num.
Right.
So
Can they talk? Do they have like walkie-talkies so they can chat to each other during this as well?
so they get the communication. Like it's actually got
Yeah.
Matthew Modine. He's like an 80s actor, but
Oh,
he was in
Modine.
Modine. Yeah, he's the captain of the boat. So he's
Right.
communicating with them and saying, "Oh, rescue's going to be coming soon. It's going to be about an hour away because they've got a specialist team like deep sea rescue where they'll
Yeah.
basically get the cage but bring them up. But guess what? Guess what's happening? Because when they panic, the air runs out. So you get the
Oh,
little
yeah.
gauge saying they've got only like 2. So it's a race against time. So you either risk it, go up quickly and try and get the bends, or go up sneakily and get nom-nommed.
Yeah.
I'm
'Cause
getting
these are-
num num. Like that's what's happening right there with me. Can I ask? You know the cages that they go down in?
Yeah.
There's no way in God's green earth you would get me in one of them to start with.
Mhm.
Because who the fuck thought they were a good contraption to go down to go and see sharks? Who came up with that idea?
Hey, it saved that guy in Jaws though, because like you couldn't get him because his nose was like.
Couldn't get through it. That's true. He couldn't get Richard Dreyfuss, but
Mhm.
still, like you've got to look at that cage and just go, no, like fuck no.
I don't. Yeah, like I was thinking about that today. I was like, would I get in a shark cage? And it's
No,
just
you
like,
wouldn't.
no.
No.
I'm fine. Like I don't have that thing inside of me that goes like, oh, you want to do a bungee jump so you can feel some excitement. It's like, no, I'm fine.
No,
This is exciting enough.
Just living and walking on the flat ground will do me absolutely fine.
Well, this one actually got a sequel. I know Dave Hope's asking about the sequel. It was actually called 47 Meters Down Uncaged. So,
Oh, I thought it was going to be like 49 meters
Did they
down.
get trapped in an underwater cabin? as
yes,
well?
exactly.
Okay.
That's the premise. They go in a cave and there's cave sharks.
Yeah. Oh no. But like also like so these sharks in a lot of these movies are all like extra bloodthirsty for like no reason.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure like Paul was referencing in his Shark Side of the Moon recap, like it's when they smell blood when a shark is gonna like attack, or if they see like flailing, but like they're probably not gonna attack a swimmer, I guess. Like, you know, that's just passing by. It's weird.
It depends, because if you're wearing a wetsuit, you're more likely to be attacked because you look like a seal. That's why a lot of people in Australia or surfers do get like. I know it sounds weird, but I like sharks, so I've done a little bit of research type thing. So yeah, so most shark attacks happen is because the wetsuits you look like a seal, and normally what does happen is they'll take an initial bite, and with us being more not as fat or like quite a lot more solid, they take one bite and they leave you alone because they're like, oh, this isn't food. It's very rare that the sharks will.
It's just pure marinara sauce.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
So
like, don't want to eat a bunch of bones.
So shark kills are quite rare, and that's why like people go swimming and still. I don't know. Did anyone see the video of the shark attack this year? That was in Australia,
Not
like the surf contest.
Reading about it.
No.
The guy
Why
was.
Are you watching it?
The guy was so fucking lucky. It's basically, it was like a surf contest, and he's just like, just paddling away, and all you see is the fucking. It looks like Jaws comes out the water and takes a chomp out of his board. Luckily, he doesn't think, and all you see is the panic. Like this, like people like on jet skis and speedboats are flying towards him because like literally you can't see him in the water, and you like as you're seeing Jaws, you just wait and see the red bobbing up. But he climbs on the boat and he's like shitting himself. He must have like a pile of shit in his pants. Like there's no way he wouldn't have shit himself. But his board's just been numbed to bits. But yeah, it's quite fascinating when you like read about the sharks. The sharks aren't an aggressive creature. All they are is like if they see something that represents food, that's why.
They're just hungry Sams.
Hungry Sams. You're the shark, I was saying.
So I have family in Australia. That's what mine do. After a certain period of time, they just immigrate to Australia. And my cousin, she was very young, and she ended up having to have hip replacements. And for her rehabilitation, because she needed really warm weather, my uncle decided perfect time to go and see family in Australia, and took her over. And he said he was telling us when he got back that shark like viewings on beaches was so just ordinary for people. Like they would be on the beach, and then 2 minutes later there would be like a siren going off, and it's like clear the beach, shark coming, and he'd be like fucking flapping about and that, and like thinking like something out of Jaws was gonna happen, but it was just so normal for them. They just pick their shit up, move to the side, and then an hour later come back again, and they'll do it all over again later on because it's just such a common occurrence. He got some brilliant footage though of them how close they actually come up.
It's crazy.
Not for me.
Not for you. Would you not go? Would you not stroke it? Say hi, Mr. Bruce.
That's my worry.
You can't. They've got rough skin though. They've got like sandpaper skin.
Oh, have they? I thought they'd be like dolphins because dolphins are really smooth.
No.
No, like sandpaper.
Apex predator, aren't they?
But coming towards the apex predator thing, there is another shark movie that is quite famous, shall we say, where it actually taught us stuff about sharks. It does have probably the most famous kill in any shark movie that has ever been made, and I know that thing is Deep Blue Sea. The Samuel Jackson death scene is absolutely amazing. Like the whole speech where is this where Sammy says she's never seen it?
I've never seen it.
No.
I got berated by Ant today when I said that. And he went, but you know the Samuel Jackson scene? I was like, because it gets brought up on every fucking hysterical death scene in any list that I've ever watched. I've never seen it.
I mean,
you'll know the song, though.
Which one is it?
It's LL Cool J. My hat is like a shark fin. That was the song for the movie.
It was not.
Seriously, look it up. It was like deepest blue. My hat is like a shark fin.
A lot of movies back then had a rap over the credits that explained the movie.
LL Cool J, going all. He was the chef or something like that in the movie.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Is this another LL Cool J movie where he's meant to be dead but he's not?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Do you know what? I don't think that.
H2O.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He does like spin kicks on Michael Myers. Yeah.
Oh no, that was Busta Rhymes.
Yes, it was. That was Resurrection. Is that what it's called?
Because
H2O.
H2O was a little Cool J, but he's just like the guard that gets killed quite quickly.
Okay.
He's writing a dirty boo.
Yeah. And it was Insurrection. Oh, it sounds like Resurrection, where he goes trick or treat, bitch, and he spins kicks him to Michael Myers.
That film was fucking atrocious.
Good idea though. I like the idea of it though.
Yeah, where it was like, oh, let's do. What was it like? We'll do like a stupid horror night, and then Michael Myers shows up.
Do like a live stream of the Myers house, and then it was supposed to be all shown through the internet, and then
that's totally what's gonna happen to us one day.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
I can see Beth getting dressed up as Michael Myers and killing us all. That's how
that's
how we're all gonna die.
That's it. That's our death.
Shark Week, I'm like, oh, do you want to come to the Deep Blue Sea underwater lab? Like, yes, we will.
Yes, but yeah, the Deep Blue Sea, like I said, the Samuel L. Jackson is infamous. It's more famous than the movie, shall we say now?
Yeah.
Like I said, the big speech and saying how he's going to live and survive, a motherfucker, and then chomped.
Yeah, he is proper nom though.
Yeah, he is nommed.
Is it like the premise is he's the leader of that lab, and they're like creating like a super shark or something? Is that what the premise? I can't quite.
The premise is they've changed the shark so it can do one thing that sharks can't do.
Swim backwards.
Swim backwards. So that's the thing. How they changed the shark's mechanism is they engineer the sharks so they can swim backwards.
I didn't know that. I remember I found out I learned an education on this podcast because I genuinely didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently they die if the gills fill up with too much water that way.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like when you really think about it. But when someone says, "Yeah, sharks can't swim backwards," I'm like, "Is this the whole thing like Shaun of the Dead, where he says dogs can't look up?"
Yeah.
Is that where I'm at? Yeah, but apparently Beth says she won't kill me. I'll be left alone because I'm Nova's favourite.
Sorry, Sammy, I guess.
Sammy will get numbed by Nova.
Oh Christ! I don't know what's worse. It'll attack forever, so I'd probably want to be eaten like numbed by a shark.
What's that movie? Cujo.
Cujo. Oh yes.
Oh, do you know, I only can watch parts of that film because I know I've seen pictures of the guy behind the dog. They actually use like a person in a dog suit. So
Right,
I'm
okay.
totally cool with that film that's not a real dog that I'm watching in some of them scenes.
That makes it feel better.
But yes.
It does.
But no. Was it Thomas Jane who played the Punisher? He was the main guy in
Yeah.
Deep Blue Sea. But again,
Right, okay.
it is a silly movie. Like I said, they're always in an underwater base, trying out new technology, and like I said, they gently engineer sharks. Leave the fucking sharks alone.
Sharks do to you. Like
the
it's not
They're too
fair.
intriguing. Because humans are always like, oh, you think you're better than us, shark.
Yes, because that's what I'm thinking on a daily basis. When I'm menacing, I'm like, oh, you sharks.
Fuck you, shark.
I think you're the top of the food chain.
Yeah, like I say, that was the silliest. But then we go to the ridiculous, and the two ones, and again, people slate these movies, but I think they're absolutely fun as fuck. And that is a quote you can put on the poster. These movies are fun as fuck. The Meg. And the Meg
love
2.
The Meg. I can join in this conversation. I love the Meg. I've not seen the second one yet. It is something me and Nance are going to watch over the next when we've got some time off together. But I absolutely adore this film so much. I don't give two fucks that Jason Statham's in it. Do you know what though? After watching Spy with Jason Statham, I'm like, I get you. I finally get you because he didn't half take the piss out of himself in that, and he's like every fucking cliche walk, and then he does the Meg, and I'm like, yes, that's just brilliant. I love it. Good choice.
But that's the thing though, when you take away science, because you know science is real.
Oh yeah, just take away a whole logic and science, everything, anything goes. Absolutely.
I don't know, Jake's looking at us. Have you seen the Meg?
No. Yeah, sorry, it was just someone was saying my audio was a bit low, but I don't know if I can do anything about that.
I can hear you. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I've seen the Meg. I did quite like the premise where it was like there's like a super like salt layer in the ocean or something. Is that what they're doing?
It was a cold, like super cold layer that that couldn't be broken or something like that.
And they like breach it, and then like they're like, oh no, a Meg, and then it gets out with them. I did quite like that whole thing, but I can't remember much more about the movie other than that it's like a really silly Jaws, and they'd probably just blow it up at the end. I can't quite remember.
Do you know what? I probably would. I supported it. Yeah, me too. I went the pictures to see it. I thought it was so fun. Has it got Rainn Wilson in, or am I just making that up?
All I remember is Scientist Statham and his knowledge.
Scientist Statham. My God.
Ruby Rose. Rainn Wilson, yes, because he was playing the billionaire that was funding it, and he got
that's right.
Yeah, he got nommed.
The thing I did like about it is they were like super silly about that whole like stuff, like that plot line where it was like, you know, the most evil businessman is like, I'm gonna take the shark and use it as a weapon.
Why does it always end up being like these animals who are like got this like this like size and stuff behind them? It's like in Jurassic Park, we're going to use them as weapons. Like, there's nothing else you could do than
because humans are the worst of us. We should be wiped off this planet. Give it back to the animals.
It's always the folly of man. They always think they can tame the untamable.
Yeah.
Like the
well, they've had. You know what? There's so many movies out there. Do you think they'd learn their lesson?
It's like these people don't watch movies. They think they're clever in the movies. That thing. It's like, have you ever watched King Kong? Damn it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's like the blueprint for don't mess with giant animal. Like
he will literally fuck your buildings up.
Don't take it out its own habitat type thing. But yeah. But I love the whole premise behind, like, because sharks, as Jake said, it is the apex predator. So any type of situation you put them in, they always are going to be scary. And even to a degree, any type of creature in the water, because we have so little control under the water. Like, the piranha is a very good explanation, like how stupid their movies are, but they have the element of funny, but actually a little bit of scariness as well in it, like especially the new ones. To be fair, most people only watched it for the Kelly Brook scene, but and seeing Jamie O'Connor's penis getting nommed by a piranha is quite entertaining.
What?
Have you not seen it?
No. No, but again, them movies did so well because they were exactly what they were. They
Mhm.
weren't hiding anything. They weren't hiding behind like, oh, let's take this so super duper seriously. Like they work so good because they're like, yeah, it's a fucking piranha, like killing people. Like
Everyone's scared of piranhas, but again, they're another one where they're probably not gonna go for you unless you're like bleeding out of like everywhere.
I just always remember cartoons when like they used to put their hand in like the piranhas and there'd just be
Yeah.
like a skeleton. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, maybe not cartoons. It's like a full-on skeleton man.
I think Rainn Wilson's character in The Office brought in piranhas and he had them in a tank, and that one of the conditions of not telling on him for something was you need to get rid of the piranhas, and he just put them down the toilet.
Oh no.
Oh, there's a horror film, Piranhas in the Sea, in the sewers or something like that. To be fair, because I know we had a ridiculous movie not too long ago. Well, not came out last year. Wasn't it Cocaine Bear? And the rumors are there is going to be a cocaine shark.
I've heard that.
It's interesting that like sharks have just become like the B movie thing to
Mhm.
go to, because there's
Yeah.
all that like Sharktopus stuff where
Oh,
it's like
God.
versus Sharktopus versus giant octopus and all that weird stuff.
Well, why? Hang on, shark to put. Hang on, is it a top
Oh,
part
it's
of
a mega
shark?
shark. It's mega shark versus giant octopus, but then there's a Sharktopus also.
Is it
And
like
then I
is it
think-
like a cross like content thing? Like you
Okay.
got shark, you got octopus legs and a shark head.
It'll be a hint
Or
eye
the other
out
way
there.
around.
If you go into if you ask Donna, she'll point you a few anime type directions at this point. I've just because I've just pulled up there some of the shark movie names, and some of them are absolutely fantastic. We've got one called The Black Demon.
Yeah, I saw that one when I was
The
trying
Black
looking on
Demon?
Amazon to see if there was any that I could watch for free. There wasn't that many.
So there's The Black Demon, Sharkbait, The Reef Stalked, The Raccoon, Open Water. Fuck Open Water, that was scary. Remember that one.
Oh yeah, that did have sharks in it.
Mhm.
After the horror of just being stuck off your boat.
Man-Eater sounds a bit like Sam, but sorry. Blood in the Water. Swim.
That's so on the nose. Blood in the water.
Jurassic
Another-
Shark.
No.
Of the Jurassic Shark.
That's just the Meg again.
There's actually one called the Megalodon. There's one called the Shark Huntress, which is just a woman in a bikini standing in front of a shark.
Yeah,
Shark season.
that happens in Sharknado as well. There's this shark assassin group of ladies in latex suits.
Wow.
Wow. Holy shit.
But then, like I say, without these type of movies that we got, like the shark movies, I know going off kilter into different things, we got films like Lake Placid, very similar type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't
I
that like
really like that.
alligators?
Yeah,
it's just one big one.
big alligator. Then also Crawl was done really well, where in Florida, where the water's rising and there's loads of alligators attacking this
No,
house.
fuck that. No,
Yeah.
fuck Florida. Fuck Florida and its waters. Fuck completely. Fuck no. Did you not hear about that kid who got killed at Disneyland?
Yes.
I mean, granted, he
Yes.
should never have been fucking left alone at night.
Yeah.
But
That happened a
that's
few
just
weeks before we
tragic.
went to Florida for mine and Nick's honeymoon. Because there was
Oh,
signs up
that's so tragic.
before we went, because we went years ago and there was never any signs. Now there was signs saying do not get too close to these waters and stuff but it was on a Disney
You're in-
complex.
You're in Florida though.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not a pool, don't fucking get in it.
But
But
they brought a crocodile to our hotel and said to do a meet and greet where you could actually stroke the crocodile.
no, fuck off. I don't want to.
I like
That used to freak me out in Florida because the amount of times that we would see news reports of just these alligators just trooping on down the street. Have you seen an alligator run? It's so funny.
Have you seen
Um,
saying that? Have you seen the one that was in the news last week
Yes.
of the alligator? There was a home footage of an alligator walking down the street with a dead body, where it was just holding its head or something, the person's head, and just crawling along the street, and no one was even batting an eye. Fucking Florida, guys. America, you're fucking
Florida
nuts.
man is fucking crazy.
I'm not gonna stop him.
Well, no, I'm not gonna go. Excuse me, sir. As you seem to have a head in your mouth. When we were in Florida one year, there was a news report on about SeaWorld had been closed down because some numpty decided to stay behind after the park had closed and go and take a dip in the water with what he thought was Shamu. It was not. It was the other one. It was Tiki, the one the one who's killed before. It was him, and got in the water, and yeah, got battered about a bit and got killed. Thought it was a brilliant idea. Who the fuck thinks that's such a good idea?
I've
Like,
seen Shamu. I think I was in Florida at the right time.
Yeah, oh God, unfortunately, I have paid money into that park to go
Yeah.
and see them shows, but I was very naive at the time. I apologize, world.
But you can't really help
Yeah.
it these days. I say if you stayed away from every type of attraction, you wouldn't see anything type thing. It's always.
No, that's true.
But
Floridians, man, fucking hell, you can keep your dirty water. I just don't want anything to do with it.
Wow. So I've just lost the Florida vote.
The Florida floods. I'm sorry.
We've lost Disney forever because Sam said someone died at Disney World. That never happened.
No, nothing ever bad happens at Disney. You go to Disney jail. Like zero crime in Disney.
Kingdom.
Wait till we do a true crime podcast again. I am going to get the stories of deaths in Disney. Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
On the books, it's never happened.
It was always like a mafia hit. It always went off base. Walt wasn't fucking about.
If I'm not here next week, you know why.
But yeah, so is any other shark movies or shark related things that like you guys had looked into this week?
No, not really, because I'm not a sharky person.
Other than Sharky and George.
Sharks, alligators, Floridians.
Fucking loved a bit of Sharky and George. Yeah, James Pond, liked him. Was he a shark?
No, that was a frog.
He was not a frog.
He's from a pond.
James Pond, he was not a frog.
He was a frog.
Or was he a tiny fish?
He was not a frog.
He wasn't a shark.
He was not a frog. James Pond.
Anyway, it's a bad game.
Yeah, he was definitely not. Oh, hang on. No, he's not. He's not. He's an orange thing with a tail, and he had a waistcoat on, and he's not a frog.
Right. Okay. But was he a shark?
I don't think so.
No.
There is actually some Jaws games that take like an alternative history. I think it was on the PS2. It was like, I don't know if it's called like, I don't know, it's probably just called like Jaws Unleashed. I think that sounds right. And you play as Jaws, and it's more like Jaws is taking a sort of anti-government, like, they're polluting the waters, so I'm gonna throw exploding barrels and stuff like that. It's very silly, but it has like a proper story and stuff, and it's not really taking anything seriously, but it's more like Jaws is the hero of like the environment. But he uses horrible violence to get his ends.
Maybe that's what we need. We need a shark episode, a shark movie where it's from this perspective of the shark. It's like it's just swimming about. These people coming in its environment, fucking up his ecosystem, and the shark's just like, fuck these guys. Let's take them out.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
Like how in horror films, it's always like some like jerks like who are like, we're gonna go skinny dipping and like we're doing bad things, and then the slasher gets them. This time it's just a shark.
Yes,
but the shark's like totally just minding his business, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, I had such a night planned, and these guys have just come and fucking ruined it, right?"
Yeah.
I was thinking,
I also saw Shark Tale in the cinema, but I could not tell you one thing about that.
Is that Will Smith?
No, it was Jack Black, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Will Smith played the fish, his little friend.
Okay, so it was one of those type of movies where the fish.
Is it not Finding Nemo?
I've seen Finding Nemo. That's a good show.
Finding Nemo had the sharks where they were like, fish are friends, not food. And then when they smell blood,
they had the support group.
Yeah, but Jack Black was the shark in the Sharks where had Al Pacino as his dad, shark, and Angelina Jolie was a fish in it as well.
Yes, she sang a song or something. I think that's vaguely ringing a bell. Like, it was one of those things where my friends were like, "We're gonna go see like Resident Evil 3," and I'm like, "Really?" Like, or 4 or something, like Extinction or something. I'm like, No, I'm gonna see
I'm
what
gonna
Jack
s-
Black's up to.
I'm gonna go and see the animated Sharks. I probably would have been the same.
But it was in that period where Jack Black was like weird, like he wasn't as funny as you would expect. But I think what it is like Jack Black will read your script
Mm.
as you've written it, and it's like you can't rely on him to make it funny.
Mhm.
Like he can do his own improv, like on his own shows.
Yeah, he's so quick-witted. I have got such a lot of love for him. I
Yeah.
watched the Tenacious D movie not long ago
Mhm.
and just
Yeah.
thought, where's he been? Like, where's that
that's
guy at?
because that's
But
all
he,
their jokes that they've been doing for years.
yeah,
Whereas, like, I think when people were giving him scripts and he was just taking the script seriously and doing the role, so
I
Mhm.
totally
he
get that.
wasn't very funny in Shark's Tale.
No,
Sorry.
he was very toned down and like wasn't very Jack Black.
Yeah.
But going back to the games because that just set something off in my mind. I remember on my old Amstrad 64 having a shark cassette game. You know the old cassettes where you used to go to load up the game
Yeah.
for like half an hour, then crash, then put it back in and play it again. The Joe can. I don't know if you still remember because I'm a lot older than you. The Jaws game for that.
Much older than me.
I know, but I feel it. But there was a Jaws game I had. You remember the old Turtles game where you had to go around and like not touch anything. If you touch anything when you were swimming, you pretty much died. They had a Jaws game where you were the swimmer, so you would go into the tunnels, and every so often you would see the shark, and you would have to hide from the shark. And if you touched the walls and touched anything, you would die. It was literally one of the hardest games. It was nearly as hard as Echo the Dolphin, but still. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard.
I think there is a Jaws game for like Nintendo, like NES, and I think it's like you play a boat, and it's more like you most of the time you're just like looking at a map sort of thing and picking where you're gonna go. But you do get to do the Jaws 4 ending if you get to the end and like stab the boat like into the shark, and it does have some blood.
Now that Lee's doing like a few games on our Twitch, we should try and find these really obscure and hard games and watch Lee freak out playing them just to see how bad they
Oh,
are.
that'd be so much fun.
Get your magnetic tapes out, everybody. Send them in.
Yes, send us all your expensive history. So go and rob your museums now because all these games and stuff are in fucking museums.
Yeah, they're kind of hard.
But
Oh, I
yes.
know. When we were in the toy shop yesterday, he had in the glass, like right at the top, a PS2. I was like, okay. Sorry, I look like I've just been crying my eyes out. I am so sneezy at the minute. You'd think like it's October, I should be past all this.
Mhm.
But the last week, like it feels like my hay fever's like just hit us now. It's like a delayed reaction.
Don't lie, guys.
so-
We've just cut out the stream where Ant is a Brader for talking back. So it's
About Disney.
You know that would be
Fucking
the other way.
Disney plan.
He's been trying to stop Walt getting in. And oh, you know that would be the other way around. I'd knock him. Sorry for the sneezing.
To knock him, everyone in Florida, the crocodiles, Bruce.
It's just the water, Jake. Like, honestly, when we drove to Kennedy Space Center, they were telling us, like, oh, all the marshy water's over this way. You could see the fuckers just creeping out, just like it was nothing. It's like,
Okay.
to be fair though, the crocodiles were there first. We're invading their turf. They're allowed to be there.
I totally appreciate that, but I don't fancy me tires being taken out by one while I'm driving.
They're not going to take out your tires.
They were telling us they would. And also, it was bad enough that my mum drove over an armadillo when we were in Florida, so that was
Oh my
terrifying.
god, this is just like listing your mom's crimes on me.
Yeah. Yeah, she totally crushed an armadillo.
No.
Just
Go right
saying,
through the middle
no
of it.
armadillos were harmed during the making of this podcast. It's all fine.
No.
But yes,
No,
I'm a
we weren't that day.
vegetarian.
but no. But just to like round everything up and like kind of going full circle, like Dark Side of the Moon is not just the worst shark movie, but probably the worst movie I've ever seen. If you're going to watch a good shark movie, like say that's not Jaws, I would certainly recommend The Shallows. Like say,
Yeah?
it is very intense and it is. I think it's on Netflix at the moment as well.
Oh,
So
right,
it
yeah.
is something I would definitely recommend you guys to watch. Is there anything that you guys would suggest watching? Other than the obvious, I'll just tell everyone to watch Jaws.
I would just go back and watch Jaws.
Go
It's
back
the
and
only-
watch Jaws.
It's the only one that you could hand on heart say like this is an excellent movie.
It is, and you can have a good sing along at the end.
True.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the-
what movie doesn't have a good sing along?
And time how long the shark is in. See if you it would get like an actual run time of how long the shark is actually in.
Distract yourself from the really good movie by trying.
I know I shouldn't be doing this, but because Monsters will be doing an episode on Jaws at some point. But what's its kill count?
Oh, not sure.
In that one,
That
it's
one.
like 3 or 4, isn't it? It's not super high.
So there's Ben, because Ben they find his head.
The girl at
the
the
girl,
beginning.
the little boy. So I think it's 4.
That man in the boat, is that 5?
5, yeah, 5.
Still doesn't beat
The Invisible
The
Man.
Invisible Man.
That's what we need. The
Nope.
Invisible Man versus Jaws.
That is.
Just
Do you know what?
Or
You say-
let's freak everyone out. An Invisible Shark movie.
That's why hasn't
that is
anyone done
terrifying.
No, fuck. I'm scared. I said
Stealth
Hollywood. I'm getting on the phone now, guys. Sorry, I'm selling the movie rights.
You
Yeah,
just-
one thing I will say is like I really don't like how since CGI movies like they've just decided any shark kill is just a shark flying out of the water to bite someone. It's like Jaws does all that hard work being like semi-realistic where he never
under
leaves
the water.
Yeah. And like
Mhm.
as soon as CGI comes along, they're like, I don't know, the shark just flies at the person, and that's how we do it. And it's like, all right.
That's how we roll in the shark world
Yeah.
now.
Can sharks jump
Especially-
that high? Can they?
Does the dog
Like,
count?
there's some weight behind them, isn't there? They're not like dolphins where they're like sleek and slim. Whoosh. They've got some weight behind them.
The dog doesn't die
I
in
mean-
Jaws, is it?
The
Oh,
dog?
There is a dog. Does it go missing? Do you ever find out if it does get taken?
Oh, I've never seen the
Oh,
dog.
apparently the invisible shark is already a thing.
The dog gets
Fuck.
eaten before the child, so I get is that like, but they never really tell you if the dog does or doesn't come back. It's just implied because there's like the stick floats in the water that he was fetching.
Ghost shark.
Ghost shark. There is actually a ghost shark movie.
Yes, I
It's
saw
evil.
that one. That's like so, and it can appear in any body of water, so it's like it's in your bathtub, like because it can just
Fuck
like
off.
warp around.
Ghost shark.
with the dog.
Ghost shark. But yes, give it its own theme tune now. Sing the theme tune.
Oh, and I think like features will be mad at us if we don't mention that there's like 2-headed shark, 3-headed shark, 4, 5, 6-headed shark movies that are all sequels. I think.
Why does a
And
shark
that's
need more than
exact-
one head?
It's exactly
How
what
many
it
how
sounds
many
like.
heads has it got?
Up to 6, I think she said.
What a shark.
A 6-headed
This
shark.
particular
How
one.
is that anatomically like how do you I don't
Yeah.
understand how you
Sam,
put it
I
together.
want you to
Like a
after this
two-headed shark.
podcast, I want you to go away and draw what you would think a 6-headed shark would look like.
It'd be very phallic, I'm not gonna lie.
Penis shark. So yes, before we go nuts, I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, I
Des.
think that's
And-
the perfect ending right there.
But yeah, so that's us kicking off our spooky season. I know it's not all haunted and stuff, but I do think it does stand up like for the horror genre and give something a
absolutely.
bit different.
You're gonna see blood, like
Yes.
tons of blood, whenever there's
Yeah.
a shark involved.
But yes. So tomorrow night is a very special episode. It is if you want to see Sam actually recoil and look so uncomfortable as Dan is getting more and more excited. Honestly, it was a sheer joy to watch when I've been putting the video together for them. Like Dan looks like she's living her best life, and Sam is definitely not. They are talking about the one and only Hannibal Lecter, all versions of it, or Hannibal Lecter.
Dr. Hannibal Lecter, MD, as he is, his official title.
I suppose
yeah,
I'd get eaten if for missing off his title. He would see that as me being rude.
You would say being rude and disrespectful. I'm not going to lie, this one was a toughie. If you caught the when we did the Gary Oldman talk and we were talking about Mason Verger, I thought that was hard. This was even worse. I kept my hands in my hoodie because I was cold, and just to keep myself in one space because I knew I would start moving about and be like, oh no, yeah. It's a good episode though. It's a really, really good episode.
Yes. So, and we have the I'm trying to put the right words to this.
Mm.
Not the magnificent, but probably the anticlimactic return of goodwill.
Oh, Michael's back.
Michael's
Coming back.
Michael's coming
The
back. So,
adequate return. Of the,
a return of goodwill on Friday, where he'll be picking up on the trekking shit. Like I say,
I'm trying to talk him into doing a travel log when he comes back on like Tuesday or something. I want him to show us his holiday slideshow.
Before we go any further, Sarah Peaches quite lovely sent me in the Discord the picture of the six-headed shark.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can make it out.
Almost.
Yeah,
No.
it's very bright. It's my ring light so
No,
bright,
we
but
can't
yes,
see it.
Sorry.
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and
Got it.
they all look like, oh, you'll have to go on the Discord to see, but they all look like just 6 sharks on top of each other.
Does it
So
not
not
look
like a six-headed shark.
Does it look like
6 sharks.
penises?
Yeah.
Tell you what, talk a bit, see if I can get it up for you. But, well, not the penis, the shark picture.
How many?
Well, yeah, I'll go into Monsters because Monsters is on next week.
Mhm.
Next week, Monsters is on Monday, and this week is Hannibal Lecter. The week after, though, and you'll see this announcement on there, but the week after is Friday the 13th.
Yes,
Am I right?
I believe so. You're not wrong.
Oh my god. Am I not wrong? I'm not wrong. And our episode will be on Friday the 13th because we are doing. Jeez.
They're invading.
We're invading. Yeah, there's a lot of that at the end of that episode. But we have a tendency now for everyone we talk about, we can do it in a whisper. Like,
Okay.
It's better in the other room because my microphone picks it up great. There we go.
Yeah, it doesn't look like.
It doesn't look like what I. No, it looks like just 6 sharks.
Yeah. I wouldn't be scared of that. I would be just like, what the
That's
fuck?
not a 6-headed shark. That's just 6 sharks.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's scarier than 1 or 6 sharks.
one body with 6 heads. Now that's something to imagine, but that's just 6 sharks.
See, the weird things that you figure out though as well. Like I say, realizing that no one's seen Teaching Mrs. Tingle. Has anyone watched it yet?
I still don't believe it's real.
It is real. I showed a post of it the other week, but yes. So we have, like I say, we're going into full throttle next week. As with next Sunday, we have quite a number of people joining us, and we are talking about the Final Destination movies. I'll try and line up a few nice videos and a few nice deaths for them ones.
Yay! Fun deaths.
Jake, have you got anything planned coming up?
Not really, but we'll have to. We've got Lee now joined our little Twitch team, so you'll see some of Nerdy Lee, the daddy of the Discord, as he's sometimes known.
Daddy Nun or Daddy Pooh.
You'll see more of him popping up on our channels, just sharing the load on the old video games business. But yeah, we'll all be back. And like I say, I'm trying to get Goodwill to do a really boring holiday slideshow for us on stream.
Oh, that'd be so cool. And this was me.
Yeah.
This is me getting sunburnt. This is me.
Just to see his Disney photos where he just looks so fucking miserable. It's so good.
Yes. We are happy to have him back.
We are. I can't wait to have him back. And we are also gearing up to the 24-hour live stream, which is in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
This time in 2 weeks' time, we are not going to be nice people to talk to.
You're gonna watch
I'll be nice to you.
on stream.
And just to show off a few things, we do have a few prizes we are going to be giving away. So we've got Lego, if you want a Dancing Groot. Got some Star Wars figures, like a Ahsoka figure.
Oh, I've got her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
Got way too excited there.
like I said, they're not here with us downstairs. They are downstairs. There's the Lord of the Rings pops that are going to be like
Mine.
The winner of the quiz. So please, everyone, like I say, when we start putting the links up on the day, like donate. Everyone's going to be entered into like a draw to win stuff. We are going to have certain things. If you hit certain targets, the person who got us to that target will win a prize. but we'll not say what it is or what the target is because people will not donate until they get to that point.
Exactly.
We're going to
We're
get
going to have so much fun.
yes, we're going to get the deviants involved as well. Like say, you might see some new faces, you might see some old faces, you might see us. We might want to kill us.
We might, us three are the ones.
Mhm.
Us three are the ones who plan to stay on for the whole 24 hours. Who wants to put bets on that we're friends afterwards?
We're gonna
I
be
can see me
even
get-
better.
I can see Sammy getting really angry at us, depending on how hungry she is. I can see
No.
we'll just need to
Oh,
like
yeah,
feed her in increments, making sure that she's well fed.
We're all gonna be eating on stream as well, so if that's your thing, donate.
And
Do you know on the 12-hour one, I didn't stop all day. I had like snacks all the time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I was probably in a really good mood after I had my little meltdown. I was like, oh, it's okay. We've got snacks.
and also,
and really cheap cherry pop.
I don't know if she's still watching. I know she's always busy, but it is going to be the diva herself is having a big blowout. She's getting married. Yes.
Oh, I mean, that is a massive blowout. It's
Yes.
like one of the biggest you'll have in your life.
Yes.
Yes, our very own Donna.
Dildo Donna is going to get married to the lovely Tucky. Bless him for putting up with her. So yes.
And all of us as well, like in one space.
I know. I feel like we've just encroached on that relationship, and like it's kind of like we come with Donna now. So Donna's like,
Yeah, it's like, you want her, you get us. It's,
Yes.
it's a package deal.
10 creepy aunts and uncles, apparently.
yes.
So yes, next Saturday we are at the lovely Donna's wedding. I can't wait. I've got a very pretty dress for it. I'm gonna brush my hair and everything.
I'll be there.
So everyone's going to be hungover on the next Sunday show, is what we're warning you about.
Right, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for everyone in the
Yes.
chat. Like I say, your puns have been awful. I'm not going to lie. You've all been shit there. But please, like I say, join us in the Discord. Like I say, they are a lovely bunch. And same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
Bye. Don't go in the sea.